Solange, we just want to thank you again for the Elmont Sprint. And we just want just to tell you what we're drinking. It is carrot, sweet potato, pineapple, and ginger. Sweet potato is good for the brain, it's energy, and it's good, you get dopamine, it helps you to keep alert. Pineapple is good for your digestion, and we have carrot. You know, carrot is very good for you. So it's good for the eyes and everything else. Lots of vitamins and minerals. And the ginger, of course, is good for digestion. So that's what you're having from me.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Technically, I'm not a survivor because when doctors asked me to do chemotherapy, I declined. Usually when you get chemotherapy, you go through the complete cancer protocol. To my knowledge, after the 5 years, you're a survivor. Agree? Yes? Yeah. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah.
No. Good. You guys are so lucky, blessed. You don't have to deal with that thought. My name is Ruby Collins, and I'm just, I prepared something for about 30 minutes, but I see we were short on time. I'm going to share my story with you really quick. I read it, I wrote it out. I'm going to be reading it just so I won't forget the things that I want to share with you. I was 16 years old when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was afraid that she was going to die. The only thing I ever knew about cancer was that it was something that was bad and that you could die from. I remember her saying, feel this lump. And I could say to myself, it was kind of big. Why did she wait so long? I recall the morning she left for surgery. She said if it's malignant, they're going to remove the breast, and if it's benign, they'll just remove the lump. I didn't know much about terminology, but I knew that benign sounded like a better option to me. And Lord knows that I got on my knees that night and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I just, as I was writing this out and thinking to myself, I literally remember seeing myself at 16 years old praying that my mom would, that it was going to be benign. The following day I went to visit my mom in the hospital, and I could see that she had a lot of bandages over her chest area, her breast area. And to my surprise, as I walked over to the hospital bed, she appeared to be well wrapped. In my mind, I just knew that it was not going to be cancer. That's what I was thinking. I had this awful feeling in the pit of my stomach. It had removed her breast. Oh my gosh. How was she going to handle this, having one breast removed? What does that mean? What was going to happen now? I knew this was just the beginning. To my surprise, my mom was like a trooper. She immediately began chemotherapy process. But because the chemotherapy was so hard on her, the vomiting, the extreme pain, the weight change, mood change, mouth and tongue and throat problems and sore and swelling, etc. and go on and on. It was really hard for her. But she never lost it. Somehow she held on. But she could eventually no longer take it and chose to stop somewhere about midway through it, or less than a minute. I think maybe she did about 3. There was a lot more that she was looking to do. And she said she couldn't do it anymore. And eventually she could no longer take the pain and chose to stop the chemotherapy. My mom had been dyslexic, couldn't read, couldn't write. There was no internet available. But somehow she chose to go natural. She announced that we were no longer eating meat, and we had a lot of meat. We had a freezer that was the size of a washing machine full of meat. We were no longer eating dairy. It was real different. We would be doing more juicing, not more, we were doing juicing. I didn't even know about juicing. She was juicing a lot of carrots and greens, and we were drinking it along with her. In addition to some other awful tasting things, which I now know as bitters. We were eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and everything else that she had learned about or heard about. But I also questioned this decision. At 16 years old, was this the right thing for her to do? And pleaded with her to finish the chemotherapy, please, Mom, because I was afraid that she was going to die. And I had been programmed, like we all have, that chemotherapy was the way to kill cancer. But Mom decided to change her lifestyle. As I got older, I remember I spent my life doing everything that, I did everything so that I could avoid breast cancer, because we often hear that if your mom has it, it's a possibility that you might have it. So that was always, lingering in the back of my mind. As an adult, I became a vegetarian. I married a vegan, meaning my husband didn't eat meat at all. I had 3 children and read somewhere that stress causes cancer. So after about 10 years in a job as a police officer, I retired because I knew I didn't want to do something that would make me unhappy and stressful. I retired, I left early. I was reminded, even as a police officer, of the deadly effects of cancer. Usually a lot of the time, the police officers, they get to their retirement period, 20 years, maybe they do a little extra, and so-and-so is retired shortly after they've been diagnosed with breast cancer or cancer of some form, male or female. And I was like, oh heck no, that ain't gonna be me. I would notice the police officers retiring and would get cancer. Again, I did not want this to be my fate. I did everything I could to live a happy and healthy life. I stayed active after I retired, stayed active and became a school teacher. I thought that would be less stressful. Walking, exercising, joined the gym, played tennis every morning. When I could during the summers, I drank a lot of vegetable juice. I juiced a lot. Ate my fruits and vegetables. Didn't have too much meat or I didn't eat too much of the fast foods. I would do a little bit just for fun, that kind of thing. But I was so mindful not allowing myself to come down with breast cancer because my mom had it. So I was very cautious about that. I went to church. I traveled the world as a singer. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a singer as well. So I got to do what I love. So it was always important to be happy doing what you do. So I got to travel. I was in China, Japan. I'm singing in Portugal. I taught myself to play instruments, 10 to be exact. I started a music school. My mother was 35 when she got diagnosed with breast cancer. I was now in my 40s. No sign of breast cancer here. Maybe I had beaten the odds of getting cancer, or so I thought. I wasn't living a typical life. I was doing the things I enjoyed. And by this time, I'd been divorced and dating and enjoying it, that no one was stressing me out. That was cool. Then on November 14, 2015, I developed a thyroid condition. I had 4 cysts on my thyroid. When I asked the doctor how I got this or how this happened, he shrugged his shoulders and said, it just happens. It just happens? Really? That doesn't make sense to me. I went home. I began to do my research, and I discovered, and what I discovered scared me. Little did I know that it was going to get even more scary. It was the month of February 2016 on my birthday. My 48th birthday, 2016. I felt a tiny little lump on my breast. I went to the doctor to confirm, but he didn't feel anything. He gave me a referral anyway to have a mammogram, since I had a history of breast cancer. 2 months later, I did the mammogram. I guess he didn't feel it, and I guess it wasn't. 2 months later, I did the mammogram. 2 weeks later, received the results in the mail. No breast cancer. See you in 12 months. Remember to do your annual checkup. Once again, another year of beating this disease. I must be doing something right. Mind you, I've been doing a mammogram since I was about the age of probably 35, maybe? I don't know, but I know I've been doing it every year for a little bit more than over 10 years. And what you are not told and what you don't know is that the exposure to this every year is not healthy, and it increases your risk by 2%. 2% is not a lot, but when you are consuming things, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the foods we eat, processed packaged food, and the water that is not clean, and the air that is, not the healthiest, because I learned there's chemtrails, certain things that fly in the air. So we're ingesting a lot of this, and it's going into our system. So that 2%, and we're not detoxing, cleansing our system. It's a lot. 2% makes a big difference. Well, July 13, 2016, the warm, sunny afternoon, I sent the children out with their mother to the park. I was glad to be home alone. As I was sitting at the computer at my kitchen bar, how many of you get that little voice? Your instincts, right? God voice, the Holy Spirit, yeah, whatever you want to refer to it as, you get that little voice. Well, I lived by this little voice. And I'm just going to say real quick, 10 years ago when I was 38, I was watching the television and they said that they wanted blacks and minorities, Hispanics to do colonoscopies. And I'm ironing my clothes, getting ready to go to work. And I had been constipated for about a year. This is after my children. And I said, okay, maybe the children, I'm going back and forth with this constipation thing. And I'm saying, how many Americans are living like this? Because I thought I was pretty normal and trying to take care of my health, but here I am, constipated for almost a year. So when I saw that, I knew that was God's way, because He talks to us in all kinds of ways, whether it be through something you watch on television, you hear the voice or something. I immediately went to the doctor because I knew that was His way of communicating with me. Prior to that, you have to get into the practice of listening to that little voice, your instincts. Get into the practice of listening to it. And I had learned to do that from an early age when I was in my 20s and in my mid-20s when I went to the White House to sing for then President Bill Clinton, knowing that I was going to become the singing police officer, or I was going to sing at the White House. Those little thoughts in my head, and it actually happened. So that gave me the trusting my instincts, even though, we're taught about that through, church and God and so forth. But when you actually experience it and see it work, you go, oh my gosh, this is real. So I am sitting at my kitchen bar, and I'm on Facebook, and I do all those things, and I'm a singer, so I'm like putting out, just having fun. Out of the clear blue, it was quiet, it was dark, the kids had went out, I heard this voice, and it was, normally I get voices in whispers, little whispers. And I used to get excited when I was younger and tell them, it's like a whisper, oh my gosh. Even with me becoming a music teacher and doing what I'm doing, I heard it. So here it was, it said, put your hand on your breast, you have a lump. Just like that, in the dark, and I wasn't focused on anything, I didn't hear. And I just immediately reached over, and I felt the lump. I didn't have to go looking for it, I didn't use the wrong hand, I didn't have to lift it. It was right there. And I said, oh my gosh. It was actually the size of my mother's when she first discovered hers, about the size of a quarter. And I said, how did I miss this? Well, first of all, I missed it because when they did the mammogram, and they said there was nothing there, I just trusted that, I trusted the results, and I guess I just didn't bother to check any further. That was the beginning of my worst fears have becoming true. It was the beginning of now an amazing journey and the change of lifestyle that I now know is how breast cancer changed my life. I refer to my mantra and my website is how breast cancer changed my life. And it's not just about the food I ate, but everything else I learned about this amazing country that we live in. This amazing country, everything else that I learned, and had everything else to do besides the food we eat and the exposure to our levels of toxins and everything else. So that was the beginning of it, how breast cancer changed my life. Romans 12:1 says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Romans 12:2. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. It says, beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your body or physical bodies a living sacrifice. Not have a dried up, sickly, can't go, but lifestyle, but living sacrifice. God wants us to present our body as a living sacrifice. Know ye that your body is the temple of God, of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which you have of God. We've been programmed, and I say programmed because this is what I know. I'm born in America, and I've learned that you need to, be a part of. You have to be responsible for your body, and you do your checkups, and you make sure you detect it, not prevent it, but we want to detect the cancer. And as the speaker said earlier, by the time you detect it, it's already there. So my goal and what I've learned is that it's about prevention. I don't know. This is what I learned. We've been programmed to believe that when we get sick, we go to the doctor. When a doctor who's trying to fix us has the same problem. Doctors are just as sick as people they treat. Preachers are just as sick as the people in their pews. Politicians are just as sick as the people they govern. Nutritionists are as sick as the people that they tell how to eat. The rich people are just as sick as the poor. Everybody's falling in a common ditch because we've left the world of God. We stopped doing things God's way. We're doing it in the world's way, and the consequences are horrible. My mom, who's still alive today, had no education, no internet, couldn't read, couldn't write, but she knew that if she would take the meat out of the equation, that maybe she could save her life and teach her children another option. When I learned about my diagnosis, I immediately got on a plane, went to Mexico. My trip to Mexico, the immunity therapy clinic, and this experience had opened my eyes to what cancer was really all about. We have been having this conversation about cancer for more than 100 years. I knew for sure at 16 years old that by the time I got older, I didn't have to worry because I know that they would have a cure by then. I am 50 years old. I'm 50 years old. My mother was diagnosed and had cancer at 16. Why don't we have a cure for cancer? Actually, what has happened is that cancer rate has increased since then. But today I'm 50 and more people are dying from cancer than ever before. I learned that up to 90% of all physical problems of those come from food from animal origin. I'm talking about beef, chicken, which is probably the most dangerous, chicken, which is probably the most dangerous of all flesh, which is loaded with mercury, eggs, which have more cholesterol than a whole pound of beef. Talking about cheese, which is probably the most destructive of all animal source foods. I'm not talking about eliminating anything that comes from something that previously had a face on it. What happens if you cut the face off? Well, it's still an animal. If you cut the head off, well, right? If you cut the head off. The doctor told me that if I did not do the chemotherapy, I would die. And I was adamant about not cutting my breast because I ended up having a double mastectomy because I was adamant about it because what I learned. And we want to close our eyes and pretend that things are not happening. And I refuse to pretend. I'm 50, I'm too old to play games. I've learned, why is all this stuff, why is this information available to us online? Why are we seeing it? Why are we reading it? Because it's a joke? I refuse to close my eyes and pretend it's not happening. Until it happens to you, because if you're participating in the world food, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It may not be cancer, it'll be a number of the other immunal disorders that are out there. If you're not already going through arthritis and osteoporosis and all of these other illnesses, it's inevitable if we are a part of the world and participating in the foods. And unfortunately, what I learned, which was too late, was that the food that I was juicing and eating and trying to protect myself from getting this cancer wasn't even authentic. It was GMO.
Oh, man.
Genetically modified.
Yes.
Right? Meaning God moved over. Cloning. Everything else you can imagine. I opened up a Pandora's box when I started digging in to see what was going on with myself and why and how did I get cancer after I thought I was doing everything right. I tried to do everything right. And I made it a point to do it right because I was not going to go through having breast cancer. I wanted to live a happy life. I wanted to be happy. I'm a singer. We like to be happy. Doctors told me I would die. They would call me up every day, although I said I did not want to do chemotherapy. They would call me up, threaten me. Really? I just held my tongue because I know I've been already talking a lot of mess. When I say talking a lot, I was just sharing because I can't keep my mouth closed. I don't work for anybody. I work for myself. So I can say what I want for the most part, because they'll come after me. But I know that God is the one who who's given me this moment. And he didn't give me breast cancer because the world is evil. That's what I know. And if we are taught this in church as a young person, we would put the connection together and understand why this is happening and what we can do as a young person prevent it. Oh, really? Oh, that's why. Oh, my goodness. And if we can connect the dots, we can live a healthier and happier life. I am so happy. I love the fact that I got breast cancer because I would have never come to this. I get goosebumps just talking to you. I would not have changed it. I like it just like this because, this is not for everybody. This message is not for everybody. And I'm not going to come to a place where I can't say and speak my mind because it's not for everybody. When I was a police officer, I couldn't save everyone. As a teacher, you can't say, I already knew by then, if I didn't save them on the street, I'm definitely not going to save these students here. And again, the students had a lot of issues. They were given medication. Really? This country loves medication. And I had to fix that. I'm not fixing anything because I didn't start it. When I was on patrol, the same thing. I was just a fast-moving cop. I would walk up on drug deals. I was like, yo, dude, I can't stay here. I gotta go. I knew I didn't bring this in here and I wasn't going to put my life on the line. But I loved helping people. That's what I knew. I knew I loved and wanted to share and help people. Again, I would not have changed my experience. It's been the best experience. I've learned so much. And say a name for me again. Heather. And she's going to invite me. Say a name for me again. I'm sorry. What Heather mentioned and what she learned and all that information is exactly my lifestyle. I went to Mexico for my treatment. I'm going to tell you, I did have a double mastectomy, ladies and gentlemen. All the mass that I got, I still had a double mastectomy. Let me just share this with you. It is difficult when you go through something like this and you're trying to weigh that, balance and figure it out and, duck and dodge and speak. Oh my gosh, I would not wish it. Now, you know what? Some of y'all need the experience. Some of you need the experience. Because it's not a bad experience, it's how you take that experience now to go and share this message or whatever that you learned in your journey. It is difficult to do the both. So, however, if you have this information prior to having a diagnosis of any type of cancer, because cancer is cancer, whether it's in the brain, whether it's in the breast, whether it's cancer, it's a deficiency, it's toxins in the body. This body is made beautifully and just the way it's supposed to be made in order to heal itself. Because when you cut yourself, what happens? You heal, right? When you break your bone, it heals. Same thing with this other stuff that happens to us called cancer. But we don't have the tools. We haven't been taught. Unfortunately, our churches cannot talk about this in as depth as we would need to. And that just really annoyed me. I was really disappointed. Growing up all my life in church and never having information this way. So I had to do it myself, and I'm excited about it. My journey is not over. This is my second. I was diagnosed July 13, 2016. I felt the lump back in January of 2016. So that'll tell you how much time has passed since. When I was told I would do chemotherapy, I declined respectfully because I knew something else. Mexico did not teach me what I learned. I did the research myself. I was in that computer for so long, I felt like the computer already was going to just, all the radiation or the stuff that comes out of the computer is going to kill me. But it really made me see things differently. And I came to Brooklyn, came back home, I shared. Okay, another thing, when you're going through things, why are you keeping it to yourself? It's not. Well, it is kind of our fault once you know what you need to do. was I didn't know. We're ignorant. And we're taught to be ignorant. That's why we like to watch reality shows and football games and this and that. And we're working hard, we're tired, we're eating poorly, it affects the mind. But that's why we have programs like this, and it's important to share. I shared publicly on Facebook. I went through the whole experience, publicly on Facebook, down to the cutting of my breast, okay? Because I was like, I'm not doing no chemo, I'm not cutting my breast, no. 10 months, I did not have surgery for 10 months. And I was adamant, I was rebellious, I was like, oh heck, I'm not. And then I was watching the show. I had a lot of little signs that pointed me in that direction. And I did have double mastectomy, but I shared everything. And I had the support of Facebook. That's when I feel that's how it's used. I had the support of Facebook, people, strangers who just, cheered me on, or for whatever they wanted to inspire me, encourage me, put me on to other people in Brooklyn that would be able to help me heal myself or continue with an alternative. There is an alternative. How about that? It's okay that we have an alternative. Okay? It's okay that we do conventional, it's okay to do alternative, but we have to have the knowledge and the information. And with that being said, I'm excited about teaching others to do the same, but it's a lifestyle. So if you're just doing this temporarily, so you go back to eating the junk food and the garbage and the processed foods that got you sick in the first place, this is not the diet for you, or the lifestyle for you. This is God's way. I told the doctors, let's play ball. And if I'm going to die, I'm going to die by my own hands, but not by your means. Because we're all going to go anyway. And I wasn't afraid of death. I was not afraid to die. I've taught my children well. I've exposed them to what I now know. My children had asthma, eczema, allergies for 16 or how many years. Would you believe when I changed my lifestyle, not only did I heal my thyroid issue, but and so many other things that my body has been healed of. I could feel a difference. I got a little headache right now, so no worries, but that's in the story. But my kids no longer have asthma, no longer have eczema, allergies, and I would look at them and say, what did I do wrong? How did they get asthma? I mean, from the time they were born. The oldest and the youngest, and the middle one would come with all kind of strange things growing out his back and foot coming out of his neck, and it's like, really? But when we changed our diet, oh my gosh! I told my children, how does it feel that you can now, you know how to heal your body, and you can share this with others, and you have information that adults who are 50, 40, 30, 70 years old don't know. How does it make you feel? So I'm excited about this. That's okay. I'll take this way any day. This is what I love. This is what I'm enjoying. And to see the results, my skin is so amazing. I can go on and on. But it's like, you feel different. My menstrual cramps, none. I took Motrin every month. You want to say something?
I wanted to ask, what did you do in Mexico?
Oh, in Mexico.
You kept saying you went to Mexico.
Okay.
Share with us.
Mexico, immunity therapy clinic. And even when I was in Mexico, I got my period. And the woman came over to me and said, would you like a Motrin? I was like, I was using it as an excuse when I showed up late from one of my sessions. And so I had my period, I did. And I was feeling slightly something, but I wasn't sure. I said to myself, well, I'm in Mexico. They're detoxing me. It was all detoxing. From the first time that I arrived and got my period, that day, I never had cramps again. Do you believe the power in not having, do you know what that feels like? No, you're looking at me like you don't. It is very painful to be 40-something years old and still have cramps. It was terrible when I was younger. I would lock my guns up. I was a police officer. I would lock up my guns and I would take one day out of the month, every day. I had to save my vacation because we had sick days. But I would take off once a month because I knew I could not function with cramps. When I arrived at Mexico at the immunity therapy clinic, I discovered there's so many other clinics just like that there. And the reason why they're there is because the things that they use there, like B17 and hyperbaric chamber or hyperbaric chamber. A lot of things that they use there is illegal to use in the United States.
Yes.
I said, oh really? Oh my gosh, oh Lord, you have no idea. I was so angry. I was really, really, really annoyed and angry. I'm a grown woman, so I know what I'm reading. It's like we go to school. I got 2 master's degrees, one in education and one in administration. How did I get them? In addition to going to the college that I went to, I got them all online. And I never got less than a B+. Never. So how is that educating me? And the information that I'm learning online is not is erroneous or it doesn't make sense or it's not real. Really? But I can get a degree
And it's real.
and it's real and it's acceptable and I get paid for it. Right, fine. But yet when I find this information, it's a lie because the government is, we live in a beautiful place. When make a lot of, there's things, information, it's about confusion. Okay, so, things work, don't work, it's okay. But we have a wonderful system that will take care of you for those of you who need the support. I needed support. Got my breast cut off. But I got the support. Okay, but I knew I had an alternative. I had another way to think of things. Okay, and I love that idea. And again, I would not have to trade it for the world. It's just, it's a new experience, a great journey. You couldn't get this in school. You had to go through it. What else we did in Mexico? Detoxing, vitamin C, Rife Machine, Lumen, Beamer. These things that you mentioned, you have to look it up. There's a Vitamet. Their emphasis was on heat because you kill the cancer cells, but you won't affect the good cells. When I left there, I had a Rife Machine, a Vitamat, a sauna, the place where I go for my checkups. I don't see doctors, which I love. Let me tell you, I'm a doctor's girl. Anytime we were sick, doctors, I don't worry about no natural stuff. What's that? What's the natural? I don't remember that. I never did that. Unfortunately, my mom, who came from Trinidad, never passed it on and shared it with us. So I was really a doctor's girl. But when I came back, and now I had a whole new, just a whole new idea, I don't want to do drugs. And drugs is okay for those of us who need drugs, because it's very helpful. But God, I believe in God. So we need to start, those of us who are from the church, we're so focused on the right and wrong, what is the word? We're focused on the spiritual, and we're not focused on the physical. So we need to talk more about the physical if you want some good spiritual people sitting up in the church.
That's true. That's true.
Instead of us being sick and asking for prayer, and God is good, because trust me, I was praying and Lord, please stay in my life. I'm from the Adventist church, I grew up Adventist. But I said, you gotta be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. This information was kept, so we kept from me. Whereas the healthier we are, we can best